When a loved one passes away and you've been named as their successor trustee, one of the first instincts that a lot of people have is to dive straight into the legal and financial side. You start opening files, calling banks, pulling together documents, trying to get on top of things. It feels productive. It feels like you're doing something useful in the middle of a really painful moment. But here's what I've learned from years of walking families through this process. The first 30 days after a death are not actually about trust administration. They're about grieving. They're about honoring your loved one. They're about taking care of yourself and your family and not pushing yourself to figure everything out. In this video, I want to walk you through what the first 30 days actually can look like for a new trustee, the things that genuinely need your attention in the first month, the things that can wait, and a few common mistakes that can cost families dearly if they move too fast. Now, before we get into it, if you're navigating the loss of a loved one or thinking ahead about trust administration, our newsletter is a great resource for practical, California-specific guidance. The link is in the description below. The first steps after a loved one dies can seem pretty obvious, but when you're grieving, they're easy to forget. So let me spell them out. Okay, so first, please make sure to let close family members and friends know about the death. I know you should do this, but it's easy to overlook people. And ask them to pass along the word to others who might know the loved one. It's easy to miss some friends or more distant relatives, and you want everyone to feel included. And then you can arrange funeral and memorial services. Please pull in others to help with this. Ask for folks to send pictures for a slideshow. Many people want to help, and this can be a great way for them to contribute, and also make sure that their picture with the loved one is included. When my mom passed away, I oversaw planning for her celebration of life, but a friend helped me put together the programs, and family members wonderfully stepped up to serve during the celebration so I could talk with my mom's friends. Also, the folks at my mom's church ran the AV system and the Zoom recording, which is great because I am not technologically savvy. Also, you should work with the funeral home to obtain copies of the death certificates. So make sure all the information is correct on the certified copies of the death certificates. I've seen lots of mistakes on death certificates, and some of them are important to correct, like the spelling of the deceased person's name or their social security number. Other mistakes aren't necessary to correct, like the time of death or the diagnosis leading to death, but I've found that a lot of family members still want to correct that, and that's fine. The funeral home usually reports the death to Social Security, so Social Security will stop issuing checks. Now, you also want to take care of the person's homes and belongings. So first, I recommend you change the locks on their home. Other people might have copies of the keys, and we don't want any break-ins. Also, make sure you keep paying for utilities and water, especially if you're in a cold climate and the pipes could burst. And please find a good home for their pets right away. Also, you can set up mail forwarding through the postal service.
Did you know my mom has a monthly newsletter where she shares helpful information? Click below to join.
So here's what not to do, okay? First, don't make any major decisions in the first month. This really is a time of mourning and connecting. So for example, you don't have to decide whether to sell the loved one's house that first month. Also, try really hard not to give in to fights with other family members. There's something about the death of a loved one that can bring back lots of memories and remind folks of past grievances. I've seen family members who have been getting along, and then they have a major disagreement, and all of a sudden they stop talking with each other. I think this is tragic, and it can ruin a relationship for many years. Now, everyone grieves differently, so please give yourself and others the grace you need during this difficult time. Also, I recommend that you don't jump immediately into the trust administration process. Sometimes we feel unsettled and unresolved after a loved one's death, and this feels awful. We'd rather feel like we can take control of something like settling a loved one's estate. I know I can be a control freak like this, but I've seen this backfire countless times. Folks start doing the trust administration themselves and they make lots of mistakes, or they start the process and then change their mind and go on a trip for several months, and then they come back and it's a mess. In this instance, slow and steady wins the race. Give yourself time for the grieving process to take place before doing trust administration. Also, don't rush distribution of personal items. Your loved one's keepsakes and household items can hold sentimental value. I've seen families fight over the smallest items. I recommend focusing instead on the memorial service and honoring your loved one's memory. The tangible personal property can wait. Now I have an extra bonus suggestion: grief recovery. Shortly after my mom died, I realized that I had some unresolved feelings towards her, and a friend suggested that I go through grief recovery. I saw a therapist who followed the Grief Recovery Handbook written by John James and Russell Friedman. This process took several months working through each of the chapters, but it was so worth it. I didn't even know that this was an option, and now I feel so much more resolved. So the first 30 days after losing someone you love are some of the hardest days you may ever live through. And the most important thing I can tell you is this: you don't have to figure it all out immediately. The trust administration process will be there in a month. It's not going anywhere. Your loved one's estate can wait, and in most cases, it should wait while you take care of yourself, your family, and the memorial. Now, when you're ready to start the actual trust administration process, that's where our team comes in. At Cookman Law, trust administration is one of our core areas of focus, and we walk families through the legal wind down from start to finish. It typically takes over 4 to 6 months, so you're not trying to figure it out alone. When you come in for a consultation, we'll talk you through the timeline, what your responsibilities are as a trustee, and exactly what to expect at each step. So if you're approaching that point, there's a link in the description to schedule a call with our intake team. And if you'd like more content, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
If this video is helpful for you, share it to someone else who might benefit from it.